Hey, Netanel, thank you for coming in. You have an amazing background. You've done so much leadership and innovation and invention. You worked across so many different domains that you have so many experiences that the audience can really benefit from. So I appreciate you coming in and sharing your insights with us.
Thank you very much for letting me be in here, Stephen. Thanks for that. Yeah, you're right. I did a lot of things. Like jumping between domains and sectors and working from government to the glory of B2C side of things, the SaaS world. So yeah, I would like to talk about everything that is very interesting in that domain. Yeah, thank you for letting me be in here.
So Netanyahu, I mean, because you have this amazing background, I'm always curious about what were the drivers, or maybe two, perhaps three inflection points that made this wonderful career that you have today?
Okay, so first, I will say, first of all, let's be honest, greedy. Why I want to be number one as much as you and everyone else. We all seen television and so on. This is first. I mean, number one in technology, number one regarding money. You know how it goes. Second, I don't care to fail because I came from Israel. So over there, you keep failing until the age of 21, including the army. And eventually, you don't care about it. Nobody count the failures that you have. So it's very easy to do things without thinking all the time about what happened if I'm not going to succeed. And eventually everything is very interesting. I'm seeing what Elon Musk doing. I'm seeing what other unknown friends that they are my friends, but nobody knows about them yet. Doing. Everything seems to be very interesting. I remember my childhood when I received my first PC. The first thing that I did is to delete the driver of the CD-ROM. This is very funny. So I remember how I tried like 3 days to fix it without any success because I didn't realize that I need a floppy to install the driver and so on. So it began in my childhood, and regarding computers, everything is very, in rapid pace. Everything is very interesting right now. It's crazy.
So what I'm hearing then is you have this personal drive, I'll call it personal drive, to be number one, whatever you're involved with. And I can tell from that conversation, the dialogue you just given, you're very curious and you want to have a lot of expertise in different areas. And you mentioned different people, and that's a sign of that. And including when you get your first computer, you're tinkering with it, right? And this is like at the age of 12, you're trying to figure out what's happening and so on. And so you're constantly learning and putting yourself in a position where you can grow at the boundaries of your knowledge. So you're constantly stretching. So that's really remarkable.
Yeah.
So I know, you got this computer at 12, and then you were hacking servers and in your background, and you made a major product at 14, and then you got into, big companies and so on. But you got into software development at 18, where you went into Python and C and assembler and advanced communications, or even before that, I guess. And that's quite remarkable, because those are really like C and assemblers. I'm old school, so we used to have to do things in machine code even. That assembler was like, oh my God, you guys, it's a lot easier. And then of course C is even another layer of sort of abstraction on top of that. And then of course with Python, then it's like, oh my God, it's like child's play, right? Because a lot of the stuff, everything's done for you. How did that happen? How were you able to have this environment where you could work with, with C and assembler and so on at such a young age? Is it your family or a neighbor, or you were close proximity to a university or something? How did that happen?
So it all happened, first of all, because my friend, I think it's a luck. So we had a kind of group that playing multiplayer games just in the beginning, in the days of Unreal and the first Red Alert and Windows 3.1 and so on. So it was like trying to do, not goodwill, it's just to playing with the teacher for the computers when he teach us Pascal and try to, do things. So in the geek world, what you're doing is try to format all the computer before the class starts. So it's like to play with the teacher in the beginning, and afterward, it was more than a game. I was very curious about how things work. So, Mirrors and IRC, and try to upload movies, even that I didn't saw them, most of them, to servers in the US universities, just before the time of Netflix and Google Drive, of course. So it was to try to do something that it seems that nobody can do, even the small ones. Even I'm not saying no one can. I mean, my ecosystem saying that it's very difficult, so let me try. And there is things that force us, people force us to do. Nobody wants to learn assembler. Okay, this is horrible. But it was one of the things that I was needed to learn for my study in the high school. But yeah, I managed to do it. It was hard those times, and Pascal and the old languages, and then slowly moving to the things that taking software like Norton antivirus back there and changing everything that looks like Netanel antivirus and moving forward slowly by slowly, and eventually creating actual product that people use for goodwill and badwill. I remember Sub 7 was one of the big things back there. I thought it was Trojan horse. So, so it's all about the ecosystem. You have friends, so you maybe have friends that play basketball. So you have luck, they can play with you. But if you have friends that deal in everything with their life, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, with a computer, so this is what you're doing. You've been with your friend and learn everything regarding this. So yeah, the days of ICQ.
And because you're out of Israel, so there's mandatory military service, but you served in the intelligence corps. So there's legendary units within the intelligence corps. And this is back in 2005, so you can't talk about any of it, I guess. But that must have been fascinating, because Israeli intelligence is world class, right? It's actually feared in some ways because they're so good. So, or at least respected, deeply respected. Depends, I guess, on your perspective, right?
Right.
Is there anything you can share from that experience?
I can say that. First of all, it was amazing because, again, for good and bad reason, they give you everything to succeed. They give you the time, of course. You don't care about salary. You're getting 100 back per month. This is what you get. But you have time. You don't have any responsibilities regarding wife and child and so on. You have only your role and position, and you have tasks. And of course you have mentors and people in the industry in Israel, especially in the army. They are very talented, really. So the army fighting to keep them inside the army. Try to prevent Google and Apple taking those those amazing people outside the army. So you learn everything from them. It's very easy for you. It's not something that you can read in the internet. Nobody going to share the most important things, the most amazing things right away. So you learn from that. You have the time to invest in anything that you like. You're very young, so you're naive a little bit. So you're doing everything that they told you to do. And And yes, you see amazing equipment like thermal equipment that weighs 70 kilos, and you can see so far away that you split yourself between the equipment world and the software world and the intelligent world, and you do everything, and everything is so fast that you learn and forget everything along together. Yeah, this was a great period of time in my life.
I mean, Israel is also famous. It's known as a startup nation. It has the top innovation per capita in the world. You've gone through a big boom, especially last year with the unicorns. And again, per capita, a higher unicorn rate, I think, or at least in the top in the world. And you have such a tightly integrated system between the defense R&D, university R&D, the startup ecosystem, the government intertwined with all of this. And then all the big companies have labs there or some kind of presence because there's just so much talent. And then you also indicated that there's a culture where you just keep trying and you keep trying, and there's no such thing as failure there. Failure is not continuing to try and being an entrepreneur. And I recall when I was in Israel last time, and I was talking to my cab driver, and he was an entrepreneur. He had two businesses, and he was working on his third. And it was exactly. And so that's a real entrepreneurship mentality, and I haven't seen that anywhere else in the world.
Yes. So yeah, exactly as you say. Our friends in the ecosystem, it's like two different worlds. First is those that succeed. So they have Tesla, they have like the new iPhone and everything, and there is the one that didn't succeed. So they waitress and work for as a police officer or something, very simple. But with time, like free time, it's a shift between 8 to 5. You're not taking anything with you home or anything. You have time in front of the computer, do whatever you want. So they willing to give their life the opportunity to be something more than just a manager in one of the companies, to be able to, to do what Elon Musk and everyone else did, because it's a dream. Now, regarding the fail, nobody say anything when you don't have a cell phone or you are like cheap and you don't have money because you didn't do anything yet that is successful. Nobody is saying, oh, okay, this guy, we don't want to be with him, because everyone look at you when you are, we call it startupist, okay? Someone that's going to do something as a project, but related to deep tech. So everyone jealous in you, even if you don't have the first salary. Most of the, in the beginning, when we established SighBit, I didn't had any salary wage or whatever, nothing. Try to consult other companies just to, to bring a little bit money to home. So nobody look at you like unsuccessful person. They already look at you like you're going for sure to succeed. So they give you the respect that you deserve. So it's easy. And for most of us, we're talking about the army. So you're going to do the same thing that you did before. You're going to try to learn the world of high tech, the investors, all that business development side of things. There is a lot of people that are going to help you, but eventually you're going to sit in front of your Mac or PC with a Visual Studio Code, your Python libraries, and try to figure out something that nobody else did before. So it's the same thing like your 6 years before. You beginning in high school, you finish with a startup company, and you didn't change anything regarding your daily routine. So it's obvious for some of us. It's not so obvious for the non-tech people in Israel. But the ecosystem, it's not just the developers. It's not just, the smart research guys in university. It's also everything around them. So yeah, You can go to Tel Aviv and see yourself that even the taxi driver that drove those high-tech people look different than those for the tourists. So it's a huge ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a huge ecosystem, very integrated. And in the meantime, I mean, so you're doing this when you're in your teens, you're building things and you're developing a lot of expertise. And then at 22, you establish your first business, a company in the US, following all of this early business success that you've had. And you opened up an engineering project management company as well, and things like that. Right. But at the same time, you're earning, you got a BA in economics, an MBA in strategy, a master's in computing science. And I can see the MBA and strategy because there's the business side, right? And the master's in computing science. Why the BA in economics?
Okay, first of all, I want to tell everyone, it's right. It's okay to judge kind of persons like us. But, the most important thing that you need to decide regarding you're doing this when you are very young. And back then, I thought that, listen, I know a lot regarding computer science. I want to learn something new, something not from my world. So let's go economics first. So, and I go, back then, even in 2011, I goes to United States and invest in the real estate sector because of that. So yeah, all my life, I'm splitting between a couple of things. First, the business side and the tech side. And also between the entrepreneur side and to work for big companies. So it's two different things, in big companies, you have, you need your title, your role, your education. You're going to do one great thing. And the entrepreneur, you're going to do everything. I mean, really everything. Even things that you're not good at, like marketing, for example, things that you very, very feel comfortable with. And, in between. So yes, I did my BA because it was sound great back there, but it's very important in economics and the business side. Today it's helped me a lot. I work for one of the companies as an economist, so I know how to calculate everything regarding your PC, from the cable, the shipment. I have that kind of thinking alongside with to actually understand what it means to pay 60,000, 60K per month for deep learning researcher, and how much is hurt to your bank account. I mean, so I know both worlds.
But you also worked with these big companies like Strauss and Intel. You worked for the Israeli Prime Minister's office, and you got skills and things like deep learning and computer vision and cybersecurity and product design. And you can even speak Arabic as well, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, yes. So what did you learn from working with these really big companies, and what are some of the skills? NVIDIA as well. I mean, you've been chosen as one of the world leading AI innovators by NVIDIA, and NVIDIA has really gone from obscurity to be one of the top companies in the world. In fact, their market cap is now bigger than Intel. Intel used to be like the giant, and then you have NVIDIA that's now bigger in market capitalization than Intel. So how did that all come about? And then we'll delve into what you're doing right now and where you make your predictions for the future as well after that. But I just want to mind this last little bit, because you work for some of the big companies and so on. What lessons did you gain from that you think were useful to where you are today?
Okay, so yeah, as you mentioned, you're right. I work for big companies. The latest before what we're doing right now was the Prime Minister office. And in Israel, when somebody tells you the Prime Minister office, it's not politics. It's one of the organizations that, under the Prime Minister directly, and it's the same thing like I did in the army. It's very secret, kind of things and so on. But over there with the companies, with the big corporation companies, you learn a couple of things. One of them is how to deal with your ego. This is the most important thing. You have nobody. It's not important how much you're genius and you want to change and you want to show yourself, and you wanted to 20,000 in the same factory or organization. The second thing is that things work very slow, and if you think that the world already build everything, everything already exists. It seems like nothing, you cannot innovate. You can. Those companies work with fax machines, work with database from back then, like 30 years ago, very slow. And because of that, you as a young person that want to show yourself, you can very easily. Regarding the Prime Minister office, over there, it was very, very, techy thing to manage a lot of people from different countries doing things that you in the beginning told yourself, what, why? And build, softwares and application to be used one time and that's it, for example. So it's break your hearts every time from the beginning. So you do a lot of things and you learn very important lesson. If you want stability, you go for that direction. If you need it, if you have enough of to be, founder of one of your startups, so go work for that companies a couple of years and come back for the instability work. The second thing is you learn what not exists. From the outside, you think everything exists. Microsoft seems like they are the perfect office. Gmail seems like perfect tool. It seems like that, but it's not. It's actually, those companies have very difficult, very hard time to deal with teams and, the remote side of things, the DevOps, cybersecurity. So it's just begun all that story. So you learn what you can invent. It's very important. I recommend everyone to go work for free at Apple, you know what now, in one of the small companies that develop software for nothing. And you're going to see how bad those software works, what need to be fixed right away. So it's not like in the world of chemistry or economics. That it's already established 3,000 years ago. Everything already exists. It's different. We just began to learn what a computer science world can provide us.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to all of that because I've done so much work with all sorts of different areas, and there's a lot of volatility. And you have to deal with that volatility. You have to be very agile, right? So,
right.
And you have to be accustomed to that agility and so on. You got expertise in cybersecurity, and I know Isaac Ben Israel. Have you ever worked with Isaac Ben Israel by any chance at the Tel Aviv University? And he headed up through the Prime Minister's office or cybersecurity program, and then he was asked to take Israel to be amongst the top 5 in AI and so on. So it's quite a prominent figure, and he was a major general in the intelligence as well, right? So, and I know him. In fact, the last time I was in Israel, I had dinner with him. So,
yeah, right. I mean, he's an amazing person, but my expertise is in data and AI more than cybersecurity. But everything around anything in in those organizations is related to cybersecurity. So imagine that you develop cybersecurity software, and you need to deal with a lot of data. So this is the major side of the software. So I have a lot of expertise regarding cybersecurity. There is better than me, of course, in that area. It's just a tool for me to play, to know how things work, to know how to act, to the basic things. But it's not my expertise. My expertise is data, deep learning, AI, to invent and build the next Cylon, for example. Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into SightBit, so I'm just going to ask a few more questions. You're known for your projects like Cylon and also VizNet, and there's others. I mentioned this earlier in 2021, you were chosen as one of the world's leading AI innovators by NVIDIA. So that's quite a great recognition. And then this year you were listed among the world's top 60 AI and data leaders. Can you talk more about that? Can you talk about Cylon and VizNet? And people in the audience may not know what that is all about. And then how did you become recognized by NVIDIA? And this year is one of the top AI and data leaders.
Yeah, so you're right. So regarding NVIDIA, first of all, as a person that worked with the computer from my teenage, NVIDIA is all my life. So every application and game that I just started, you remember that NVIDIA, the things that. So when I hear NVIDIA and see that logo, it's make me feel okay and right. So I'm very happy and admire that company. This is first. But SighBit using a lot of GPU regarding any processing side of things, even the stream that we provided to customers using NVIDIA GPU to do it. So we working with NVIDIA more than that we working with Intel, just because this is deep learning. Sorry guys, NVIDIA won this round. And because of that, they have the Inception program. So we chat a lot of people, we meet a lot of people regarding this. You show your work, you show what you're doing with the GPU. Actually, this is what they care. So you can show YOLO 3 or 5 today, detecting object. It's okay. It's fine. But if you really take the GPU and in a split of second reach 100% utilization, and you need 50 gigabytes, and you're talking about with NVIDIA and they're scratching their head saying, how you reach that amount of memory? And you talk with them and show your work so that they realize what you're doing and what you try to achieve. And then, only then, it's like both sides. Only back then, I realized that I'm doing something that, nobody tried to do before. Maybe I going to the wrong direction. And today I can say that we succeed with that, and we actually, it was the right direction. But this is how things move regarding NVIDIA, and then they realize it, and then, put my name in the website and so on. And afterward, because I'm dealing with data and everything, I was invited to participate in magazine like 60 Leaders for the AI and data. And I've been asked what I'm doing, how I doing this, and what we need as a society to take care of ourselves regarding privacy, data. The world go to one direction, and some of us scared of it, right? Being scared of it. So this is what happened, and things move forward. I'm not looking to be recognized to the first leader or something like this today. It was in the past. But yeah, some of my work being watched, and one of them is the Cylon. Now, yeah, I know, guys, Cylon, it's from Battlestar Galactica thing, the series regarding robots, and Cylon take over the world, and so on and so on. Now, this is not Cylon 1, it's Cylon 0.1, and it means that we mimic the very simple organized organism. I'm sorry. And one of the things is to let the software, for you, it can be a virus. It's okay. I don't care if someone will call you in that name, that try to keep itself alive as much as it can. This is the first major project that takes a lot of time, and it's taking resources from every company around the globe. If you provided resource for free, this will take your resources a little bit, like a virus that want to keep itself alive. So this is the first thing And it's kind of a evolutionary algorithm, if you're familiar with it. So it's like advanced thing that this is the first thing. And the reason why we're doing this as a side project, me and some of my friends, is to build the infrastructure for software that can live without human interfere. And yes, thinking about electricity, thinking about data, thinking about what will make the humans angry to turn you off. Yes. So this is the first, it's very hard because it's a feedback system. It's many feedbacks like a child. Hertz, the CPU, people checking you, people deleting your friend, and all that thing is the Cylon 0.1. So it's combined between data, deep learning, machine learning, and cybersecurity along, between them. And I promise everyone to publish it in 2023 as a mind map in the beginning, because it's not only mine. So this is first. All the rest is regarding deep learning and machine learning and data. So a lot of things that I already managed to do, but I didn't publish. This is one of the things that I didn't live in the open source world a long time. So you see a lot of, contribute in the GitHub and GitLab, but you don't see any files. So this is going to be changed, guys. Yeah.
That software will be controversial too, though.
I know. That's why I'm very, everything begin with that.
Right.
Everything. It starts like that, it's try and error, thinking that you want to change the world. I'm not afraid to do mistakes, but my will is a good will. This is my goal. I'm not looking, Cylon taking the world. It's not like that. It's just because I believe that we can do it. We can.
Okay. How about VizNet? Tell us about VizNet.
So VizNet, it's a deep learning algorithm that it's a little bit different than the algorithms that already exist. Let's say it's not algorithm, it's neural network that taking the time. I know that RNN doing the same thing, but taking the time is the major data that need to be taken into account. So it's like the way it goes to the time and how the things change by time. So let me give you an example. If I give you a picture with humans, okay, from far away, only one image, you're going to have like 30% error finding the difference between humans and garbage can. Imagine 3 pixels per human. It's horrible, right? But if I'm giving you 3-second video, the same, quality, the same thing, you can decide what is human and what not, because you don't care about the things that you see, the pixel, black or white, or if they have hands or not. You see the context, but the context is related to time. So you can say only to see black dot on your screen after 3 seconds that it's a B on your TV, or it's a dead pixel, or it's a human, right? How you do it? It's just a black, black dot, black pixel. And you're doing this because the time and because you have the context. And this is what you learn, because people change, right? They're wearing black suits, they have hands, some of them don't have hands. And in SighBit, we realize that people under the water are still people, So even if you don't see them, you know that they are over there because they see your friend looking on that direction. So as a human, this is what's important for us. We learn from time changes, and this is what's important. So the VizNet taking only that in the account. So the feature map and the filters, it's not related to age detection, the color, the deepness, and so on. It's related to time only. And this is what we did. And we managed to, this is, I say we, because I have a friend that helped me. This is like a personal project. We managed to detect the difference between human and the car from far away. Both have 3 pixels. And it's only because the movement, it's not tracking the speed, no, you know. I hope that I explained well that situation, but I will give another small example. If your friend will wear a dog costume that look exactly like a dog, in image you think it's a dog, but I give you half a second and you realize that this is not a dog, right? So you're not using your vision, you're using your mind to track the changes in the scene. You see different person moving and this thing is not moving right? So this is what VizNet doing.
Interesting. So you created a temporal analysis system, and then by that temporal context, you can then figure out what it is, or a higher probability of what that particular, you can classify it
Yes,
through this temporal system, right? So that's interesting. You know, okay, now let's talk about SightBit. What is SightBit?
So SighBit is a company, first of all, that as a founder, I established the company along with my co-founder. We were both, 2 founders. The company in 2019, it's all beginning from the understanding that nothing exists really in aquatic sites to public safety, to try to save us human from the water that we are all drinking and like to swim, but it's very dangerous for us. Right now, it's actually the season of drowning. You can see in the news every day, drowning here, drowning there. Some of them, it's unfortunately, it can be prevented. So SighBit begin as an idea to provide technology that exists to aquatic site that nobody care about. Yeah, it's sports, surfing and everything, but it's in the age of the civilization regarding infrastructure, regarding the policemen, regarding everyone. This is in the age of the civilization all the time, if we're talking about coastline. So we begin with market research to see if somebody needs some technology to prevent drowning. And we did a lot of POCs to see if we can detect human in distress actually, drowning. And eventually we reach to understanding that nobody trying, and it is smart thinking, nobody trying to detect the stabbing, the car accident, the people that drown right now. Everyone try to detect everything that lead to those hazards for human. So you detect the person that speeding, you detect the person that caught in ripcord. Everything is fine with him, but he caught in ripcord. And now it's like the clock ticking, and you try to prevent the next drowning. This is the major understanding regarding the solution that need to be invented. And afterward, we collect a lot of data to try to build a software, a SaaS application that will be based, first of all, on every camera that you can find, including your PC camera, including off-the-shelf cameras, security cameras, black and white cameras, everything, because we know already that there is millions over there that already been installed. We cannot afford ourselves to say, listen, you need SighBit camera to use this software. So this is a horrible approach. We were smart to know that. We learned from the competition, from other company at DeepSea that started the same solution, but with special camera, and they were closed. So we learned from them. And we realized that this is how the system going to work. So how SighBit system works. First of all, taking the feed from the cameras, as I mentioned, far away cameras. those that blurry a little bit, because near the water, you're going to find out that your lens is going to be ruined in 6 months. Second, there is Chinese cameras, they are horrible sometimes, cannot operate. They are not real full HD. They cannot deal with low light and so on. So you need to deal with that kind of data. And as I mentioned, you have low bandwidth also, because it's in the A. So you have 3G, 4G cellular connectivity. You're not going to have fiber optic over there. So this is how the system works, sending everything to the cloud, not asking any tune from the camera, any change in direction, angle, auto lighting or something like this. Fixing a little bit, using computer vision, improving a little bit the image, and then moving to our core technology in SighBit. So the core technology is 3 things. 1, to detect any type of object in aquatic site. And when I say aquatic site, yes, the camera is 100 meters from the beach. The person is 90% under the water. You're going to see only his head. He's lifting one, a surfer, and there is 1,000 human and boats, collision each other. And you need to detect each one of them to see how much time they are in the water, if there is boat near a human, what the difference between adult and child, and if that adult come with this child when they just entered the beach, because there is difference between adult and parent. So this is the core technology, the first one. So it's like you already know, object detection is very simple, right? Every student in their master science probably going to build one of those things, but in low quality images, very small object, and very far away scenarios, you're going to face probably 40% accuracy. So we reach around 85 per image, and if we're talking about video, this is a gold standard for us, so this is enough. The next video, the next frame, and the next frame, so you're reaching enough accuracy to be able to use. The second core technology is, this is very special about SighBit. Detection of the water situation, hazards, rip current, tsunamis, tides, everything that happened in the water, and any anomaly without any special sensors. Again, from the same picture. So this is very special about SighBit. We know where there is rip current as much as 10 years experience lifeguard. We train the model very fast in every site, and that's it. We don't need anything else. We know where there is rip current. We also know, and this is very easy statistically, to know what's going on with the water. Now, to know tides and to know the height of the waves, you go into the internet and you're going to see what will happen tomorrow. But in the time of crisis, and this will happen 1 in 100, and it's enough to kill somebody, nobody will tell you that, oops, today it's going to be 10 meters wave. Nobody going to tell you, listen, today there is tsunami. If they know it, they already, nobody will die from tsunami if they know 1 day before. So we detected, for example, tsunami around 50 minutes before. Okay, so this is the benchmark that we did. Regarding tides, we know if it's anomaly for that site specifically. And rip current, there is 3 types of rip currents for us. So we know to detect the rip current, we know that the object in rip current, we understand if that object, the human, is actually fighting the rip current or he managed to deal with it. And then to provide the insights with those 2 core technology, only that we providing the insights for the user. Now, there is another core technology regarding tracking. But the tracking is not something that SightBit invented, like it's something that nobody had. We have it, it's based on our detection, of course. So we're using tracking to count the speed, deal with everything in the scene to see if the human are child or not, and so on. But with those three core technology, we managed to know everything regarding the site. And then it's all about UI, UX. So the lifeguard, the policeman don't know anything about rip current. You know, what is rip current? Why is it so dangerous? They don't have the time to learn. They don't need to learn. So we provide the insight. It's like child alone for 5 minutes and there is rip current. Something bad going to happen. You need to act now. So then we are able to minimize the response time. And also, most of the swim sites are not unguarded. Nobody can put so much lifeguard over there to keep our lives safe, save our lives. So, and camera is very cheap. It's 5,000 for camera. It's nothing really compared to lifeguard that it's 6,000 per month. So, and you need to provide them a lot of infrastructure, you know, and benefits and so on. So with that technology that based on, you know, sort of kind of deep learning algorithm and so on, and understanding how people react in the water, we can provide to the public the safety that nobody can. And beside the technology, how the system is operate is the most important thing, because there is competition for pools, for example. So special cameras under the water, you know, you need to build to download the application and so on. We base our application in the web. I mean, browser. You have browser. Go to app.SighBit.com. It's perfect. You have it. Username and password. The camera, you don't need to buy anything. If you have it, have it. If you're not, just call to the security company near your house to install 2 security cameras. So there is millions of cameras along beaches today that cities and counties installing every day, really. And this is very important regarding SighBit, because you know probably when you develop something in technology, you want the perfect data, the perfect situation, the perfect, you know, everything perfect, because you think that you want to succeed in one field. We dealing with the most horrible images. Really, you see the image, you say, I don't want to go to the beach today. It's look like foggy and, you know, horrible, and forget about it. But this is what it is. We need to deal with it. We need to work with it, and not looking for better quality or, you know, better suited data. So this is about SightBit, and SightBit today is, you know, it started to be globally, working global. Now we already, the system already been deployed in Israel, but it's not enough. Public safety product have long sales cycles. So, you know, we all need our patient regarding those kind of products.
Yeah, so you know, I understand it. You know, you're doing just refined anomaly detection in aquatic sites globally, and you can use off-the-shelf everything. You don't need specialized equipment, and then SaaS, so it's easily accessible, right? So, and those are your selling points, right? Refined, top-tier anomaly detection. It can use anything, and it's cloud-based, so it's easy to use, and so on. So we're almost out of time, so I'm going to ask a couple more questions.
Yeah,
I want to get your view because you're embedded in so many different things. In a few minutes, maybe 2 to 3 minutes, can you talk about what are the trends that you think are really important? And it could be anything. It could be like zettascale supercomputers coming down the pike or something like that. It could be biotechnology. It could be anything that you imagine. So just a few minutes on that, and then I'll get your final recommendations, then we'll end our interview. So first of all, what are your views on some future trends, you know, things that people should be paying attention to?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it, you know, the new gold, it's not oil anymore. Yeah, I'm not just, we don't need to talk about the last 6 months, but I'm talking in general. So the new gold is data. Now with data, you don't need any new technology to analyze it. You know, you have the machine learning, it's old already. So you can find out everything and anything about anyone. Now, this will be the old new technology that will be in every application. Really, Netflix, your Gmail already have it because they are giant companies. But even in the small companies, you know, the companies that dealing with your real mail outside over there. So everything going to use the big data centers. It's a huge, it will ease on our life. But imagine right now that you're looking to change your career from businessman to techie man, let's say. You want to learn Python and so on. You cannot anymore delete your past. That's it. Okay, imagine that you want to prevent for somebody to force your friend to sell their house because they have difficulty in returning their wages, mortgage. You cannot prevent it anymore. There is company that's selling those data to investors in real estate sector. So it's the transparency that came with those, you know, applications like Google that collect everything about us. This is something that we need to get used to or fight against it. And I think that we already lose the fighting, that, you know, Europe start fighting it, and, you know, but yeah, we need to deal with it. We need to know how to live with non-privacy world. But it's great because it's going to help us a lot with our lives regarding medicines, regarding, you know, right now, boom, everything about it, everything about you. You're going to the doctor, he don't need to guess about you anymore. So he can help you right away. He can help you more than usual. So it's very important for us. So I think it's a bad word for the rookies, and it's great word for people that don't care that people know about it. So I like the direction that world goes. And I think that machine learning, the deep learning, going to be in everywhere. I already see startups that, you know, serve the technology to non-tech persons to build something with it. So this is what I think the world goes, and I will be part of it probably, and from both sides.
Okay, and normally I would then drill and ask more questions, but we're just literally out of time. Yeah. So I'm just going to close with one final question. What are your recommendations to the audience?
To the audience, so for those that looking in our interview, because I'm a founder and an entrepreneur and so on, don't think about failure. It's irrelevant. You know, why? If you're not paying for your failure, fail as much as you want, as much as you can, because you learn from it. And regarding people that looking for the tech world and everything, wow, there is so much things to solve that really I'm looking at people and juniors that publish things in LinkedIn, and I'm saying, okay, I want to learn from this guy. He didn't finish his BA, you know, BS. He didn't finish his first degree, and I want to know what he's doing. So, wow, it's a great world to be. And yeah, so pushing forward with great technology, and please share it with me, because I'm always jealous in people that are doing those things.
Well, Netanel, I mean, thank you for sharing your insights. I mean, we could go on for half a day because you do so much, and I could then mine each one of those nuggets, gold nuggets that you have and that you live by every day. So thank you again for sharing so much with our audience.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the great chat, and see you later, of course. See you, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.